This is the Kratom Science Podcast. I'm your host, Brian Gallagher, blog and social media writer for KratomScience.com, your source for all things Kratom. My guest is Mike Rummble. He is a grocery store worker from Welland, Ontario, Canada. He's working on the front lines during the COVID-19 pandemic, and he likes Kratom. And he's also a video game streamer, and we like talking to him. Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Rummble. How's everything going, lockdown going in Welland, Ontario?
Oh, God. It's like anything else, because I'm a grocery worker.
Oh, yeah.
I'm in it every freaking day, so yeah, it's pretty bad. Some days you get the absolute jerks of the world, and then other days you get real nice people, so yeah, it's pretty stressful, let's just put it that way.
Yeah, but you're on the front lines there. So, is that where you're from originally?
Yeah, born and raised, unfortunately.
My first question is Kratom legal in Canada?
No. It's a gray area when it comes to Kratom in Canada, because Health Canada and the Canadian Drug and Food Administration, whatever you want to call them, the CNIF, I believe is what their name is.
Okay.
It's not legal for consumption, so you can't sell it in pill form. You can't sell it saying it's for tea. You can't say any of that, but you can sell it for any other usage. So it's not considered a health product per se. But
okay.
You can sell it like aromatherapy, they say. The usual stuff that we're used to seeing as users of Kratom, aromatherapy, things like that come up all the time. You don't see it in pill form. You're not supposed to be taking it no ingesting.
Okay.
You can't sell it saying that.
But you can still buy it there.
Oh yeah, it's really easy to buy. There's it's strict rules. I think we have the same rules in the United States and Canada have the same rules when importing it. It has to go through certain legal documentation. You have to go through it all and say, oh, we know the weight, we know where it was brought in from, what methods were used to package it. All that stuff has to be done, and then as sellers, they still have to go through all the strict rules. I don't know if it's the same in the States for this, but when they grind it, they have to say how it was ground down, what was used, was it tested for any metals, things like that. So
yeah,
it's those all have to be followed just in case of ingestion.
Yeah, that we don't have that here. I mean, right now it's basically legal to sell, but you can't sell it for consumption.
I've been watching some of it in the States because it's more of an active conversation in the States, I've noticed, than it is in Canada. We're pretty quiet up here about things like that. It's all hush hush in the background until it needs to be talked about. But in the States, it seems very upfront. You have several people, I've got several people I follow on Twitter who are going to every one of these court cases, and they're little behind the scenes talks with legislation and stuff. So I'm seeing that, and it's hopeful for me sometimes because it'll get slowed down in the banning of it, because that's what seems to be the talk, is they're always trying to ban it, and then a group gets together and shuts it down a little bit, slows it down a little bit. So,
yeah. So there's no Canadian Kratom Association.
Nah.
Okay.
I mean, there's enough of us who talk to get information. Like I work with my doctor directly because they always ask you on forums when you go to a doctor, what are you taking? So, me, I'm on blood pressure pills, I'm on this, and then I put Kratom in the list every time. I'm like, you need to know I'm taking this.
Yeah.
So that if something weird happens, they can go, okay, well, was this part of it? And I talk to my doctor about it all the time, what it's doing for me more than what it's not doing. I'll bring up if I'm having a side effect. I just recently cycled off of it because my tolerance was getting too high. So I cycle off of it every now and then so I can get that down and then bring it back up, where I don't have to take so much to get the effect that I'm getting from it. So I just cycled off of it. I'm going back on, and I'll be right back to square one. But I let him know when I'm doing that, because he'll see my blood pressure all of a sudden rise. And he's like, oh, so the Kratom is bringing your blood pressure down? I'm like, yeah. Like, it helps a lot for that. That's why I find it funny when I read reports saying that it raises blood pressure. I'm like, what?
You said, okay, you're cycling off, and that seems to be kind of a tough thing. I saw this on Twitter, too. A lot of people say, I don't have any withdrawals, but for you, it's kind of like, first of all, why do you even take Kratom in the first place?
I'm high anxiety. A lot of voices. I mean, that's how I describe anxiety to people. Is it's a lot of voices yelling at you to do certain things, and you're trying to do the right thing constantly. And so with Kratom, it shuts down the voices that make no sense. Like, dude, just do it. Voice, the guy, you're like, shut up, dude. Like, why are you even in this conversation? The ones that make sense are like, you don't need to worry about this right now. Let's work on the project at hand, kind of thing.
Yeah.
It kind of focuses it all for you. And that's what it does for me. And physically what it does, because with a lot of anxiety, is you get the pit or the stress, the pit that forms in your chest. You feel it. It's like something heavy on you. And when I take Kratom, that goes away. And I can feel it melt away every time. And that the first time I ever took it and I felt that, I was like, I get it.
Yeah.
I now understand. And from somebody who's like, I don't have like a huge amount of problems. Like, I'm always impressed by veterans and people who are suffering who take it and get the effect. I can appreciate them even more, because for what it does for me was nothing. Like, I'm not suffering in the same manner. Like, yeah, my anxiety is really high and stress is high, but they've got stuff. Like, a war vet tells you their story, and it's like, wow, I can see why you take it. Like, you need this to calm you and get you in the right mindset. So, or suffers from even opiates and stuff like that. They come on this and it gets them off of those, and this is so much easier to come off of. Like, when I say cycle off, the withdrawal effects are like 3 days and they're nothing. It's a joke. Like, coffee was harder to get off, to be honest. It's harder to get off than this. So I laugh when I read those, it's an addicting thing, and I'm like, it's more of a dependence thing. Like, you can become dependent. I could understand that, because you want to feel good. You want to be normal. Is normal. That I can get. I understand that. But saying it's addicting, I think we need to change the verbiage on that.
Sometimes. I mean, I think for most people it is kind of like a coffee. Like, oh, well, I want to have some, I kind of feel like having some, but it's not like people I've talked to that are addicted to opiates or heroin say, if I don't have any for 12 hours, I get violently sick. And that's a withdrawal. It's not people coming off alcohol sometimes have delirium tremens and hallucinations, and it could be even more deadly than opiate. It's nothing like having to go off Kratom, as far as I can tell. I mean,
I have yet to hear anybody coming off Kratom having anything so bad that it takes them out of commission. You get a little headache sometimes, and you kind of feel nauseous a little bit, but it's 1 to 2 days of that at the most. And it's nothing. It's really nothing. Like I said, coffee was harder. Like, I felt sick trying to come off coffee for a little bit. I couldn't believe it. I was like, coffee. This is coffee. It's acceptable, and here I am. I feel like I'm out of commission. So it's strange.
And so when did you first hear about Kratom?
I want to say it was around 2017. I was watching Joe Rogan's podcast, and he had Chris Bell on. Because that was the first time I had heard the word more than once in a conversation. Before, it was kind of in passing, and this time he brought it up, and he brought it home. Because he was suffering from opiate addiction due to his hip injuries and his knee injuries and all that stuff. And he was more bringing it home about his stress and anxiety he was feeling in his life, and he was taking it, and it was helping a lot. So he brought up his documentary he was working on, A Leaf of Faith. And I said, I'm going to watch it. So I watched it, and I found that what I enjoyed about that the most was it wasn't biased in any way. It was very, you either are on board or you're not. Like, there's the bad and then the good, and whatever you take, you do with what you got to do. And I enjoyed that viewpoint to the point where I started researching, and then I started trying to find reputable distributors that I could buy from, and then dove in that year, especially since my blood pressure had just become a problem for me. I was suffering from like sleep problems. I just could not sleep worth of beans. It was just all kinds of things adding up. I was like, I need help, and I do not want pharmaceuticals, because everything you read about pharmaceuticals a lot of times just, it's not good. It's not good. It's like, especially like now I'm even on a cholesterol pill that I want to get off. Kratom ain't gonna solve that problem, but getting my stress levels and all those things down makes it easier for me to do the things I need to do to get the cholesterol down. So
do you have any do you have preferred Kratom strains?
The more I try, the more I'm sticking with the green Mangda. That seems to be the one that does it all. It's a nice all-encompassing one. I with the company that I purchased from, they have super strains, so they test the alkali level of which one's higher, and I always buy supers. The higher the alkali, the better the effect. So, but Mangda seems to be the one that covers all my bases, but I like to go into the Bally's every now and then. It's Mangda's the one, though. I think that's the one I'll go to every time if I really need the effect I need. So,
how do you prepare it?
First, I was doing teas.
But,
the taste is not the greatest, so it was hard to really swallow. I mean, I was really good at the effect is worth it. So it was worth it, and then I was like, I got to change it up. So now I'm capsule. That's why I chose the company that I'm working with now, because they test the crap out of their stuff, so I'm not getting any harsh metals or anything like that in my product. So I'm okay with putting them in capsules. I put them in capsules. I take about 4 grams, I think it is, at my highest. If I'm constantly at 4 grams, then I start to say it's time to cycle off if I'm not feeling it anymore, because I don't really want to go much higher than 4 grams, in my opinion. That's just me, because there is no recommended dose, obviously. So that's when I start feeling a good effect, is around between 3 and 4 grams. I can feel it. It feels good. So anything beyond that, I think it's just too much. That's about. It's all capsules. I did try just spooning it in. That's the worst. But, the wash, I just couldn't do it. And then tea, then now capsule, because it's just quicker.
Do you and how much you take on an average day?
On an average, it'd probably just be the one set of 4 grams. I usually take it just before I go into work, because of course that's where I'm going to feel the most stress and anxiety. So I'll take it about 4 grams, and then that'll be it for the day. Sometimes I'll do a little bit more, maybe 2 or 3 grams in the afternoon before bed or something, just to help relax before going to bed.
So have you experienced any bad side effects with Kratom at all, or any mild ones?
No, nothing. See, nothing really comes on. And I think if I had to pick one, it was like dehydration seems to be a thing. I find that I dehydrate quicker. But I also found a benefit to drinking water while on Kratom, because the more you drink, the longer the effect stays. It was just something I noticed. So if you feel like it's dying off and you get a good glass of water in you, it seems to come right back. I don't know what's happening there, but I feel that, and I'm like, okay, there's a benefit to drinking water again. I'm hydrating again. So maybe the other side effect every now and then, not so much since I've been taking in capsule form, but before was I would get an upset stomach a lot. And I think that came mostly because your stomach's full of powder all of a sudden, and it just doesn't go well in there. So
it's like cement in there. You take CBD too?
I tried it. And I found it actually did not work as well as I wanted it to. I'd say it worked, but the cost and how many you had to take in order to get the same effect that you get from Kratom wasn't worth it. This doesn't make any sense to do this anymore, so I stuck with Kratom, obviously.
And the effect would be like an anti-anxiety.
Yeah, that's mostly that's all you're going to get from a CBD. Like, if people say pain relief, but I never really got pain relief from it. Because I had a dislocated shoulder from when I was younger that occasionally acts up, and I have plantar fasciitis in my left foot. So when I need pain relief, CBD would never cut it for that. I get Kratom and it's gone. Like, I don't feel those two things. So pain relief is a big deal when it comes to Kratom as well.
Did you ever try CBD topically, like that, or just?
No, it's a little harder to get. Well, now it's not, but when I was trying CBD, it was difficult to get good topical. You got a bunch of off-brand crap a lot of time that really wasn't CBD.
Yeah.
So I'd probably give it a shot now, because I hear a lot of people saying that it does work, but at the same time, like, I'm doing fine with Kratom.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, exactly. Especially since I'm not seeing anything bad. I have my doctor checking my blood work to just make sure, like, nothing weird's coming up, because I hear things like liver toxicity. Well, I have got nothing like that, and I've been doing it for nearly 3 years now, so I don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah, I don't know about that liver toxicity stuff. I think maybe if you, are an alcoholic, it might add to it or something, but I really don't. Exactly. I don't think, 'cause with the amount of Kratom people take, I don't think it's enough to... The effects from a smaller amount are such that I don't think it really hurts the liver that much. I mean, the liver, I don't think it necessarily damages the liver on its own, but if you're taking other drugs, it slows the metabolism of the other drugs, so the effects will be stronger. That's why I've heard people say that, if I drink while I'm taking Kratom, it's kind of like drinking at a high elevation. You only have a couple drinks and you feel drunker or something like that. So there just isn't enough. I mean, you could tell like a way too safe of a story for Kratom, and you could also do what the media, at least in the U.S., is doing, which is some guy had it in his blood when he got shot, so that's a Kratom-related death.
Yeah, it's a Kratom-related death. Well, the one case that is linked to Kratom in Canada right now, when you read the actual case, they also had oxycodone in their system and fentanyl in their system.
Yeah.
And they suffered from CPOD, along with bronchial... there was all kinds of lung problems going on with them at the time. And I'm like, are you sure it was the Kratom?
Yeah, really.
Sure. So, and that's what I was reading. Like you said, you look at your all the cases in the States, and they're talking about it, and they don't bring up the fact that the oxy was in there, and all these different drugs were in the system as well as Kratom. So can you blame that? No, I don't think.
No, of course not. It's you can tell there's an agenda with the FDA because
God, is there ever?
It's like the pharmaceutical companies' revolving door. I mean, this is the kind of thing you notice if you pay attention to politics for more than a couple of months. It's just like, they're bought and sold. They've been bought and sold a long time ago. But are there any groups in government or otherwise that want to ban Kratom in Canada?
I haven't seen a loud voice for it, but you do see a group. I shouldn't say see a group. You notice in BC, it's a big thing right now because that's where most of it's coming from. When you do purchase, there's not many around Ontario. You have to buy from out west most of the time, and usually when something comes up, the raids and all that stuff on Kratom happen in BC, and it's usually doctors. That's what I'm finding interesting. It's nurses and doctors who have to treat patients that suffer from Kratom poisoning. And it's only because the first-time user probably got it. And the way I look at it, a lot of times it's a first-time user who bought it from a head shop. There's too many things going wrong right there, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's don't buy your Kratom from a head shop.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Unless you know for a fact that the product that's on their shelf is a reputable company.
Yeah,
sure.
Some of them might be all right. Yeah.
Yeah. It's rare, though. You walk into a head shop and it's a good... If there's a picture of a avocado with eyes on it or something silly, don't buy it. Don't buy it. They're clearly trying to catch your eyes with something crazy, so you'll try it.
Yeah.
Things like that always drive me nuts. When one person I knew bought it at a head shop in Toronto, and they said it had all these psychedelic pictures, you're gonna trip out and stuff, and I'm like, I've never even come close to tripping.
Oh yeah, you're overselling it there.
Yeah, you're so overselling. I can't say that it doesn't get you high. If you take enough of it, I do feel like this. It's a weird calming.
Yeah.
But you could really take in everything. I don't know how to explain it. Everything's vibrant. The world just seems better. And nothing oh my God, I saw a pink monkey on the corner yesterday. That's amazing. Never. I don't understand how that would happen on this.
Yeah, no, not at all. Not at all. So, marijuana is completely legal in Canada right now. Is it nationwide recreational?
Nationwide. That's the one thing I
Yeah.
can say we probably got right in Canada is it's always nationwide when shit happens.
Yeah.
It always drives me nuts because I traveled to Texas in 2017, and I wanted to bring Kratom with me, but it's considered Schedule 1 in parts of Texas.
Okay.
And I'm like, I might want to leave that home. And same with weed. It's not legal. So I was like, okay, I guess I'm not taking that with me or buying it while I'm there. But then I went to Seattle.
Yeah.
It's 100% legal. So it's like, okay, this is interesting that I can go to two different places in the United States and it's a completely different setting.
Yeah.
Whereas in Canada, you come to Canada, it's legal. Like, you don't have to worry about where you're going in Canada. It's just legal.
It really should be legal everywhere here, but it's
get it federal. Come on.
There's so many roadblocks. It's like,
so it's strange to me, but at the same time, I get why they do it. There's that. I know it's like I get it and I don't get it. You want to be your own state. I get that.
Yeah.
But I think there should be some things adopted federally that it just makes sense. It just makes sense to just get it all on paper across the whole country and you're good to go.
Yeah, really. Especially
why do they need such control?
Because they had problems even with hemp. Now that hemp is grown for flour and not just rope and whatever, and they have the CBD flowers. There was a guy driving from I think Washington State, where it was grown, to Colorado to deliver, or it might have even been Idaho because hemp's legal there, and he was stopped. No, he was stopped in Idaho. This truck driver with a truckload of hemp for CBD, no THC in it, and he was like jailed so their company has to sue the Idaho State Police because for interstate commerce, it's actually legal federally. Hemp is legal. So it's just all, and the police don't know the difference. So the police think they're doing their jobs, and that's the. You're right about that.
I think that's what bothers me too. Is you can't really blame law enforcement either because this is their job, and if they don't know, well, they have to follow the most precautious side. Like. And even then, I say the precautious side. It's not very precautious. It's just what the law states.
Yeah.
Like, this is not legal, so we have to stop it. I feel bad.
They don't know the difference. Sight and smell, it looks the same.
It's like, it's weed. That's just what they can say. Well, it's weed, and it's not legal there, so we can't let you go through. It's like, come on. Like that's the other thing that bothers me, too, is the people being incarcerated for things like that. It's like, it's legal. Let's fix that. Let's get these people out. They were put away for something stupid that's now legal. Like, let's get that out of there.
Absolutely. Our lieutenant governor is pretty progressive in the state of Pennsylvania, where I am. And he wants a recreational bill passed and for all the people in prison to be released who are there for marijuana. But do you think there's a difference in attitude about drugs in general in Canada versus the United States that caused marijuana to be legal there earlier than it is here?
Yeah, I think we're a lot more lax. It's always been that way. Like, I even remember as a kid, if a kid, like I say kid, like in their 20s, had a marijuana cigarette, a cop would see him and go, listen, put it away. Yeah. And that's the worst that would happen. Or if they even had like 3 or 4 joints, it was like, what are you doing? Like, go home. Don't be walking around with that. Whereas in the States, you heard more often it was someone getting like thrown in the back of the car for it. It's like, really?
Yeah.
It's a few joints. Like, chill. The whole thing was always very lax here.
Yeah.
So, when they said it was legal, it was like we kind of just went, oh, cool. It wasn't like a big celebration. It was like, yeah, we were already doing it. So thanks for making it legal. You just made it easier for us to get at it now, and then that's a good thing on top of that because it's now money going into the tax dollars that can fund everything because that's huge in Canada. I mean, I don't know how much you know about weed in Canada, but we can grow it like crazy up here.
So you can grow some in your house, or
we can have 3 plants in our house if we want. So.
Yeah. As long as you don't start an underground cartel.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool. It's like they just relaxed a lot. I mean, I have medicinal now here, and it was easy for me to get. It was a joke. Because some doctors are just like, okay, you have anxiety. I actually do have anxiety, but I wasn't diagnosed with it previously, and I did like a video consult. I didn't have to leave my house, and then you just have to pay the doctor $200, and then you have to pay the state $50. So I got my little card. It looks just like my license, and I can go get it, which is good for me. And even in Pittsburgh, it's if you can possess up to an ounce illegally and only get a $25 fine. So they're
Right.
I'm lucky to be in a metropolitan area where that's I don't have to worry about anything I do getting arrested for anymore. I mean, is there any kratom activism in Canada, or does it? I mean, it might not even be necessary yet. It sounds like.
If it exists, it's probably mostly in BC when I hear about it, because there are places there that deal in it. So I'm sure the activism will happen there more than anything. Here, I don't really hear. I'm like, even in my small area in the Niagara region here, I'm probably the loudest voice, and even that it's not a lot. Like I'm so pro kratom that when someone comes to me telling me how they're on like 3 different pills for their anxiety, I'm like, yeah, have you tried this? Like, give it a shot, tell me how you feel, and you might want to consider coming off some of those because they can be pretty detrimental to your health in the long term. So, and I've had a few people convert over, like they're taking kratom and their doctors are happy with the results as well. So it's like, when you can turn those people, you might be on the right track. So I try to bring it up. I'm also cautious. I can't say like outright that I'm just saying, yeah, take it, there's no side effects. Like, I often tell people, like, listen, I don't know, each person's going to be different. You know, it's the usual rigmarole you go through. Is
start with a teaspoon,
start with a little bit, see how you feel, really watch what's happening to yourself, because there's no studies on this. I can't tell you exactly what's going to happen, but I have a good idea at this point. So, and tell your doctor, don't be like, oh no, I don't take any weird drugs. Like, no, let him know you're taking this so that he can also help you get through this, you know, because your blood work is going to be important. If he wants to see your blood work and something's off, well, maybe you have to look into something. Like, I want people to be cautious. I want this, as an advocate for kratom, I want it to be legalized. So the best thing you can do is to cooperate with your doctors and things like that, because they're going to be the ones who get the right information to the right people, hopefully. That's a good message for people here too, because I talk to people that some of them can talk to their doctors, and some of them, they just look at the FDA recommendation and say, no, don't do that anymore. But you know, so it depends on what relationship you have with your primary care provider, which I wish everybody that uses kratom would at least try to say, hey, this is what I do. I don't have a PCP right now just because I was moved around the past couple of years, and it's a little expensive down here to go to the doctor. I really hope for you guys that some kind of healthcare comes into play. It makes me mad sometimes to hear that you can't go in for something very simple. We don't have the greatest healthcare system. I will full on admit that, but I can walk in, get something done, and walk out. You know, is convenience I think everyone should have. It's your right as a human being, like, to be taken care of if something's wrong with you, not walking in and then becoming debt filled for the rest of your life all because your arm broke or something. I've risked that for many years. If my leg would have broken, I would still be in debt. And the Obamacare thing helped a little bit because I was able to get free catastrophic coverage, but I still would have had to pay $5,000 for anything that happened. So, but you know, anything over that, I was covered for free. By you're in touch with the kratom community here, there. Do you think people, organizations, advocates could do anything differently in general to spread awareness about kratom, or keep kratom legal or legalize it, other than what we're doing? I think they're doing what they can. Can they do better? It's a tough one. I mean, I find social media is still very infantile, in my opinion. Like, we're still navigating how this is supposed to work and how we should use it properly. So I think, especially with the older generation of the advocates, I'm finding that they're doing a pretty good job, considering that they're even newer to this than most of us. So. But I don't know. It's hard to say what can they do, because I haven't found that kratom's such a big, it's not a forefront talking point yet that I think we should be worried about it. I think the problem is, if it did become a talking point, the wrong people are going to be the ones whose voices we're going to hear. And that's usually what happens a lot of the time. because that's my fear. Like, you're a perfect example of that is if you looked on and go on your web browser and look up Kratom right now, the first couple of sites that come up are DEA related, and they're anti-Kratom every time.
Yeah.
And that drives me nuts. And that's only because it's the loudest and strongest voice because they have the most money. Like, they're going to be at the top in the forefront. So I think they're doing well. The information's there. Like, a lot of the information I see on Twitter is there. They're not being around the bush. They're not like candy coating things. Like, a lot of them, they even say when the bad happens, and I'm happy for that because then that lets you know that nothing's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just how it is. Nothing's perfect. Like,
yeah.
You know, like pharmaceuticals, they're not perfect. We know that. They're actually worse in most cases. So, but no one talks about it. That drives me more nuts. Once again, it's one of those things that the loudest, highest paying voice is the one we're hearing. And I'm kind of glad it is where it is. It's being dealt with. I just think when things start to go sour, we need more voices. People do need to speak up. Like you said, they have to be more forthcoming with their doctors saying, I'm on this and I'm good, you know, so the doctors can see healthy people on it, because all they're seeing right now is people are coming and saying, oh, I'm having this reaction, and it's the bad side. And then, of course, they're calling the cops on these distributors. And I don't know, I just think more people need to be vocal. They can't be afraid to tell people that they're on it, because there's not. I haven't seen any place where it's illegal 100% to have it.
Yeah,
I haven't seen that. So why are you worried to talk about it? Like, talk about it. It's okay.
Yeah.
The beauty part of marijuana becoming legal is it opened up that gate for Kratom. It's like, you think like weed has more of an effect. Like you get high off weed. Like, good THC content, you're high. Like, you're up there.
I can't do certain things.
Yeah, like Kratom doesn't do that. So that should be like, okay, if you need that calming effect of THC/CBD, you can get that with Kratom without the high.
Yeah.
You know, like that's what I saw. I was like, oh, that's good. Like, we're legal now, so maybe they'll be a little more lenient on Kratom when it comes to the floor to talk about making it. Like, in the States, like I said, I've heard some places have it as a Schedule 1, and it's like, holy crap, it's Schedule 1.
Yeah, really.
Make something like this a Schedule 1.
That's insane. I mean, well, they just had marijuana as a Schedule 1.
Yeah,
so
like, what the heck?
It's just insane. There's no rhyme or reason to it other than it's actually helping people get off the prescription drugs that cost money. And
just people need to talk about it more. We need to have open conversations with everybody like you do right now. Like, your podcast is great. As soon as you contacted me, I went through a bunch of your podcasts. Like, this is what we need more of. We need more conversations. We need, like I was saying, talk to your doctors if you're going to try it. You know, we need this. Like, this is how people need to be better. And I think this is the product that can make people better, because it helps me, and I don't have a lot of problems. So when I see the people who do have problems and they take it and they feel it makes them better, it's the right thing to do. Like, let's fix this.
Thank you, Mike Rummble from Welland, Ontario, Canada. The music is by Risey. The song is called Memories of Thailand. The Kratom Science Podcast was written and produced by me, Brian Gallagher. For more information on all things Kratom, see kratomscience.com. Take care.